Tune in to Heel of the Ring podcast on the Sports Jedi Network channel. May the sports be with you. Because I am the hero the Sports Jedi deserves, but not the one it needs right now. Long live Lexus King. What's up, everybody? We're right back at it. Our second guest here this evening. It is our pleasure to bring in our guest. But before, again, let me say again, hello to my partner in crime, Chris. What's up, Chris?
Grind does not stop. Grind does not stop. We are here back to back for another interview, and I'm excited like always, man. Let's go.
Absolutely. Our special guest here, you cannot give the proper introduction because she is La Doña, the Sixth Sense, Labrava, the one and only Mayhem, Labrava Escobar joining us here tonight. ¿Cómo estás? Salud. Bienvenido. How are you?
I'm excited to be here. And like I said, Sports Jedi Network, you guys are awesome because you have the word Jedi in your podcast name. I picked the best podcast to have this interview with. So thanks for having me, guys. You guys are awesome.
I appreciate it. Absolutely. May the sports be with you and all that. Of course, don't forget our sponsor tonight. Our sponsor is Dude Wipes because we are wiping out the competition clean. And Dude Wipes and the Sports Jedi Network where the force meets the clean. What's up, Chris? Go ahead with your question. Go away.
No, again, we talked a lot off air. I want to thank you again for joining us. It's going to be a great conversation.
Yes.
I want to ask, I always ask this about everybody. What made you fall in love with professional wrestling? Were you a fan as a young one? Was it something that you maybe got into early in your early years? How did you really get into wrestling to the point now where you're really, really doing it and at a high level?
So I was a fan since I was a kid. I think like my earliest memory is the infamous Montreal Screwjob between Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels.
Hey.
So I do remember back in the day. And then I remember in 1999, Chris Jericho's debut on Raw is War against The Rock. So it goes way back into the 90s because I'm a 90s baby. And I fell in love with like the larger than life personalities. I fell in love with the athleticism, but it was mostly just you went out there and it's a sport, but you did a performance in front of all these people. And I've always been the kind of person that I gravitate towards art, and I love art in any way, shape, or form, whether it's music, whether it's sketching, whether it's graphic designing. And this, for me, wrestling is an art. And I'm glad to be a part of that world because I never thought in a million years I would ever be a wrestler because the only championship that I held back in the day was being a couch potato. So I held that title loud and proud when I was a kid, and I got my act together, and here we are a few years later. I am wrestling and trying to get as much matches as I can under my belt and eventually a contract because that's what everybody wants, But yeah, I've been a fan since I was a kid, and I love this business. It has its ups and downs, but I truly love what I do for a living.
Love that. I love that. Let me ask this question here. You fell in love with professional wrestling. For me, I'd always tell my origin stories with my grandfather back in 1984, 83, before Hulkamania. Right before that, he would always tell me about that. And then watch Hulkamania, then WrestleMania 1, and the rest is history. I'm in love with the art, professional wrestling. You told us about Jericho and stuff. What did that gravitate to? What did that bring to you? Like, because I know you have that persona, La Doña. You're running things. You're in different facet group, La Sangre Controversial, the Controversy Inc. Talk about how did that say I want that to be the top of the notch of your facet group, or how did that Brava Escobar gave birth?
So realistically, Labrava came to be back in 2014. So I've been around for going on 12 years, but actively since 2017, 2018. But I never thought in a million years I would ever be in a faction ever in my life. It was not in my playbook whatsoever. So it kind of just, how do I say this? Controversial start there. Controversial link came to be when there was a no call no show at a show that I was a part of. And then the promoter, the infamous Brian Idol that everybody knows from NWA, which I believe he's the NWA TV champion right now. He was my trainer at one point, and at the time, that's when I was. I didn't have the best training prior to that, so that's why I ended up training over at FTW, which is the school that he owns. And there was a no call, no show, like I said, and Salazar de la Muerte and Carlos from Puerto Rico, Carlos Controversia, they were Controversial Link originally. And then I just so happened to be, hanging around, and I had nothing to do because I brought my gear and she didn't show up. And then Brian Idol, in his infamous New York accent, said, "You want this freaking broad in your freaking room to freaking manage?" That's like the worst Brian Idol. And then I started to, then I managed them. And then from day one, we had a ridiculous amount of chemistry. We didn't have to really talk about anything. Like, our chemistry was just instantaneous. And if it wasn't for them, honestly, I learned a lot from both Salazar and Carlos when I was just managing at the sidelines when I first started. And let me tell you something, when you're managing two guys and you're starting to like grow into wrestling, they did not go easy on me. Like, they were like, "I don't care if you're a girl, you're going to get the same type of treatment that we get." They would dig into me with the matches. They would dig into me about the technique, the position, everything that you could think of. But I'm thankful that they did, because they wouldn't have made me as good as I am today. So a lot of people sometimes in promos, they say, "Oh, you're running off of Controversial Link's coattails." All right, cool. You know what? I learned from them, so I own it. It's fine. I totally understand. But I also put my work into it too. You know what I mean? And now with La Sangre Controversial, Carlos unfortunately moved over to Puerto Rico. But sometimes every once in a blue moon we do, tag it up. But now it's with Romeo Quevedo, and we make an impact everywhere we go. We have Mucha Lucha Atlanta coming up this Sunday, and it's our second time over there. And let me tell you, man, like, we made a huge impact on our last debut, and so good that they're calling us back again for another show. So, I mean, it's been going really good with these two factions. They really bring out the best in me, and they've helped in their own way develop who Labrava Escobar is as La Doña, the Sixth Sense, La Patrona. They've really brought out that person that I've been wanting to be for the longest time. So they've been a huge confidence booster.
Love it.
I love that. One of my, and this is my question. We talked a little bit about this off air backstage. My first introduction to you was, when you debuted in AEW Dark against Tay Melo. You had a really, really good showing.
Thank you.
What was, just, doing that and doing your work with NWA, what does it mean to you to, you started up and now you're in these companies that, they're big companies, they're noticeable, you're going to get your name out there. How was your experiences, being up there? Do you kind of get nervous? Is it natural for you? Does it give you the more motivation? How are your experiences, in those major companies?
So with AEW, it was very nerve-wracking because it was the first opportunity that I ever got being in front of TV and working TV style. Yeah, it was the first time I've ever worked TV with AEW, and I'm I'm not gonna filter or anything like that. I was nervous, man. I wanted to puke. I was sweating bullets, man. I thought I was gonna like crap the bed. I don't know if we're allowed to curse, but I was gonna crap the bed. You know what I mean? And
don't worry, we got dew wipes to clean it up.
Dude wipes, buy them. So I had the people that they called up also to do like spots in AEW and everything. They were sitting in the crowd too. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so much pressure. Like, the folks that also got called up to AEW with me, like, they're sitting over there in the crowd and they're watching me. What if I mess up? What if I look stupid? What if I have a wardrobe malfunction? What if I have 20 million thoughts going through my head. And then Tay, she was such a sweetheart to work with. And I'll never forget the experience that I had. She guided me through the entire thing, and she helped me calm down. Dustin Rhodes also offered a lot of advice backstage, which was great. I had a chance to meet Vicky Guerrero, which literally she is the mother hen of all the women over there. Like, I cannot say anything bad about that woman. She is God's son. And the entire locker room backstage, they weren't rude or anything. They were very welcoming. You know, some of them will give you like a nod, and like some of them will acknowledge you like, hey. Big Show is as big as he is on TV, or as we know him as Paul White. His knuckles are huge. I don't know if anybody's ever seen like his fists in real life, but golly,
No,
it's like
I've
the
never
size of
seen
your
him in real
head.
life.
It's like the size of my head. Like
Oh
golly,
my
like
God.
I would not want to wrestle that guy. But he was a sweetheart backstage too when we were taking like our photos with Speedy, who's a very great photographer, by the way. And then with NWA, I was very fortunate that a lot of the people over there, if not all of them, they were very, very nice. I shook everyone's hand over there. I introduced myself. They introduced themselves to me. They were giving me tips. They were very open about giving me advice, telling me the things that I need to work on or need to fix. And I feel like over time, it's like all the tips and advices that I've gotten from AEW and NWA, it's helped me become very OCD when it comes to matches and stuff, because I'm very hard on myself. I've become a perfectionist where I want the match to go like down to a T. Like I don't want to have a bad match. I want to give the people what they paid for. And if you're going to be paying X amount of money for a good show, I guaranteed I'm going to give you a good match and a good show. I don't care if I'm on first on the card. I don't care if I'm the main event. I don't care what spot I am on the card. I am wanting to give everybody their money's worth. But working for those companies have really helped me mature. And I think that's what I needed, because I feel like at a certain point, I was lacking that type of maturity. And I realized that. And, you know, a little self-reflection and whatnot. And it's made me, it's made me a lot stronger than what I was when I first started like 11, 12 years ago.
Love it. Chris Gad, I know you got to leave soon and give
No,
your
no,
closing.
I love that, because you know, when I feel like getting on those stages, that's gonna eventually, when you do get into bigger spotlights, that's going to, you know, you're gonna have that experience working on TV, right? You're gonna have, you know, already, it's gonna be natural to you. So I'm happy that you got that experience kind of now, right?
Yes.
But another question I would have is, when you first started in training, picking the right schools, I always like to ask this question, because I think, right, not just wrestling school, college, any school that you pick to further in education and anything, you want to make sure that you pick the school that, you know, best fits you. You have the right mentors, you know, you have the right people around you to succeed. How was it, or how easy or hard was it for you to pick the right school? And then when you picked the right school, how did you know this was the school that's going to help you get to where you're at now?
So, and I love it when people ask this question, because I don't get an opportunity to talk about it too much. But when I first started, it was back in 2014, like I said, and they had a promotional poster hanging around, like we're in my neck of the woods, where it said free wrestling training for women. The word free comes at a price, of course. Everybody knows that. So you get your money's worth with free training. And I'm not discrediting that by any means, but I just felt that at the time when I first started training at that facility, I wasn't getting what I needed. I came into a period of time where it was still somewhat old school, and they would treat us a very particular way if we didn't do things right, or we would get punished. So the old school mentality, it somewhat kind of bled into me, just a little bit. But I've learned to evolve and everything. But I just wasn't getting the training that I really, really needed. And I was always getting told like, oh, you're too small to do this, or you're too bottom heavy to do this. You don't have the strength to do this. So in the back of my mind, I kept on having all these self-doubts, and I'm like, well, why the hell am I even wasting my time from coming over here anyway? Like, I'm just going to take a step back, whatever. So then I started ring announcing a couple of shows. Yeah, so I've dabbled in a couple of things in wrestling besides just the athleticism part of it. So I
Nice.
did ring announcing for maybe like about a year. It was like about a year, and then slowly started transitioning into being a wrestler. But that's when I joined Brian Idol's school, who is run by him and Natalia Markova, and I think Mike Mondo from NWA also periodically drops by as one of the trainers there, who's amazing, by the way, and such a sweet guy to talk to with so much knowledge as well. And then I stuck around there for a couple of years, and then I went over to Death Proof Dojo. I think this was back in like 2022, 2022, 2023. And I was there for a couple of years as well. And that facility is run by Chris Silvio, who I am wrestling for Bar Wars this Friday for the
Nice.
Mandalorian in the main event in a
Yes.
street fight, Falls Count Anywhere match, which guaranteed, Clara, if you're watching this, I'm gonna whoop your ass. So
I mean, we got over 1,000 people in here, so she could be.
so once you know, once you feel like, in my experience, once you feel like you can't surpass a certain point in training, or maybe you feel like you're getting stale, I feel like it's always better to maybe find another credible school, so that way you can not only just find something else better for you, but also learn different styles, because the style that I learned with Brian Idol is completely different from Chris Silvio. If I were to go to any other facility, they would teach me something completely different. Like I went over to Jay Lethal's seminar one time, and Big Con was there. He was there. Some of the guys from AEW and TNA were also there to, walk us through a couple of things. Their style of training was completely different too. So you grab all this different type of experience and all these different types of styles, and you create your own unique persona. So my way of wrestling is going to be different than the next girl or the next guy. And that's what I like, because wrestling is all about diversity. I love that. I absolutely love that. Whenever I'm wrestling new people too, I get something different. I'm not working the same girls with the same 5 moves of doom, or like the 3 moves of doom. You know what I mean? Everything is different. And I love the diversity that wrestling brings. It takes a lot, and it takes homework to find out what good schools are credible. I found Brian Idol through Salazar de la Muerte, who's part of my faction. And then both of us together actually ended up finding Chris Silvio, because he ran a small little seminar in Brian Idol's school. So everything kind of like intertwined and connected with each other. And if it wasn't for these trainers, I honestly don't know where I would be. They really cleaned up a lot of the things that I needed cleaning up on. I'm not afraid to admit that.
So let me follow up on that. When you were talking about getting cleaned up and learning, you categorize yourself in what kind of style? Lucha style, strong style, technical, or you just un gumbo de un poquito de todo, a little bit of everything. We here throw a little Spanglish show just to
I
let you
love
know
it.
from time to time.
Yo también sé español, y yo también puedo ser bilingüe. That's fine. I can do both. Best of both
Let's
worlds,
do
baby.
that.
I don't want to say that I'm a particular type of style. I want to say that I can adapt to your style.
Love it.
I've learned over time that I know what my skill level is, but I'm not going to be able to work at my level with somebody that's just been a year in the business or doesn't have as much experience. I can't do that. So I have to adapt to their style. I have to lead. I have to be mindful of the girls that are up and coming as well, the way that I was up and coming, and the vets had to go ahead and adapt to my style too, or even push me, because I like pushing the girls that are just up and coming too. Like, hey, I want to push you out of your comfort zone. We're gonna do a couple of cool things today. Um, um, like I said, I like to adapt. I am very technical. I love good old classic chaining. But I do like running around here and there. I do like to fly every now and then. It just depends. But I'm very adaptable, very versatile. So I don't have a set style, but I'll tell you what, I love a good fight. I'll tell you that. I love a good fight.
Yeah, speaking of that big fight, you got the Woman Lorien this weekend, and it's going to be a bar fight. I mean, we're talking about anything goes, but beer bottles,
Yes.
anything. As long as you don't take a chancleta, we're good, but anything goes.
You just gave me a good idea with that chancleta. So
Shout out to my boy Matt Austin. I do want to shout out one of our guys. I'm thinking about you, buddy.
I mean, who knows? A chancleta might make its appearance at Bar Wars Wrestling. Who knows? That's what we're known for. So yeah, it's a street fight. Falls count anywhere, no DQ, and I've got a couple of weapons up my sleeve. And the last time that I wrestled her, we used lightsaber, and we had a lightsaber duel, which was
Ooh.
great. The crowd lost it. I love the energy from that crowd. If you guys just so happen to be in the area, you guys should totally drop by. It's going to be a great time. And then the very next day, This Saturday, I have another street fight. So I got 2 street fights in a row.
Wow.
Yeah, I got 2 street fights in a row and the main event twice in a row. Come on. The main event.
Let's
Yes.
go. Oh,
Let's do
the
this.
main event. What? That's the best place to be.
Hey, I love the spotlight. Give me the spotlight anytime. I will show out any day.
Well, speaking of that, I kind of wanted to fall into this because you it seems like you want the spotlight. You're not afraid to go out there and do anything. What would some of your when it comes to wrestling, the business? What are some of your strengths? Is it like your promos? Are you comfortable going out there and just speaking and working up a crowd? Or is it your in-ring work that kind of gets you over? What's kind of you think your strength when it comes to wrestling in the ring?
I know that I'm a very good wrestler. Do I have could I always be better? Of course, absolutely. I'm always going to be a student of the game. There's something always to learn every day. But one thing that I do take my pride on is promos and even live promo segments in wrestling. Give me a microphone and I will create magic in 2 minutes. I will create magic in 5 minutes. I'm not afraid of that spotlight, and I don't get nervous with the crowd. If anything, I feed off from the crowd. Like, if you're booing me, I want you to boo me. I want you to start throwing tomatoes at me. I want you to start throwing chairs. I want you to call me the dirtiest, nastiest word in the book. I want you to hate my guts. Find me in the parking lot, slash my tires, and burn my car. I want you to absolutely despise me, man. But if you're cheering me, buy my merchandise, please. Buy my merchandise. It's always available at the shows. But I thrive off of, like I said, it's art. It's art. And I always have something to say. So, like, again, I love doing interviews. I love doing podcasts. I'm very comfortable talking to people, even when, like, interacting with the fans at the merch table and everything. But especially in the ring and a live promo, or if I have to do a promo for a show, absolutely. You know why? Because my promo is with selling tickets. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm not putting my business out there, then why am I even booked? I'm always the first one, even though, like, some promotions, either they want it or they don't want it, but I still give it anyway. I always ask, do you want a promo? Okay, great. I'll deliver it this day. And I always deliver it with time because, again, I want asses in those seats and I want eyes on me, because when I walk out of those curtains, I'm going to give you a freaking show. And I guarantee that you're going to be like, holy crap, Labrava, I need to come back and I need to see her. I need to follow her on Instagram. I need to follow her on Facebook. I want you to see my matches, see my growth, and I want you to see that I can kick anyone's ass. I don't play around when it comes to wrestling.
I love it.
I have a follow-up on that because I always like to ask everybody this as well, and you kind of set me up for that, right? You want people to go out, check out your Facebooks, check out your Instagrams to see your growth. You have been doing a good job on being active on Instagram with the growth of your career. I want to ask this to you, right? How important is that for you to use social media for your advantage, to make sure everybody, that's basically, where you're promoting yourself.
Yes.
It is through Instagram, is through social media, and you have a really, high following. How important is that for you to make sure, you get that eyes on your Instagram page and your social media platforms?
For me, it's very important because the more eyes, that means word of mouth, like, maybe I get 5 followers and those 5 followers are like, hey, check this wrestler that I just followed. Look at her page. Look at the relatable content that I happen to like. I'll post things that are not wrestling related either. Because I feel like I have fans that are from wrestling, but I also have fans that maybe like what I like, maybe like the music that I like, which is heavy metal. I like 80s music. I like 70s music. I like a good old-fashioned reggaeton. I like my salsa. I like my cumbia, bachata. But I'm such a metalhead, man. Like, I don't know if you guys can see it. This isn't my shirt, but this is a Beast in Black shirt. We saw them in concert. I think it was like 2 years ago. Great band to listen to, by the way. You guys totally need to check them out.
Oh, I know who they are.
Oh, they're freaking amazing.
FYI, your camera's off though. Just giving you that heads up.
Thank you. But
the damn Sith Lord.
Speaking of Sith, I don't mean for my ADHD to kick in the way, but that's my Pikachu, and he's dressed up as a Sith Lord.
Oh, really? Again, your camera's off, so we can't see it.
It's off?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I thought it was on this entire time. How do I turn this thing
See, I didn't want to sidetrack it, but you know,
Oh my God, how do I turn this on? Someone help.
um,
Oh
you're on
no.
your
Okay.
phone unless
Because
you
it
want to
was
come
on.
out.
I'm looking at myself right now. I think I'm up. Oh no, this is
No,
terrible.
you're totally. It's dark.
Hold
You're in the
on.
shit. There you are. There it is. There it
Can you
is.
see me
You were
now?
in.
Yes,
Yes,
yes, yes,
yeah.
yes.
Okay,
You
cool.
you was in the shadows.
You guys had me talking for 25 minutes on
It's
a
all right.
flash.
Well, it was good
We didn't
conversation. I know
look.
what I
You were
mean.
very informative, and I didn't want to break the flow of the force, and I just let the force flow.
Thank you for not interrupting the force. I appreciate that.
You go.
So,
That's from one
but
Jedi to another.
thank you. So, social media for me is very, very important because, like I said, I get fans from just not even just wrestling, but like maybe they see me. They see like some of the questions that I ask, like, oh, like what type of music do you like, or what type of TV shows that you like. So it's also mutual. But then they look at my page and they're like, oh my God, she's a wrestler. This is awesome. Or I get just random people following me all the time. So I try to post as much as I can. I get busy sometimes because my schedule is out of whack at times, but I do try to be as active as I can, and I try to be as responsive as I can to all the fans either, because I know that even just a small response can make someone's day. You don't know the type of day that anybody's having. Yes, finally La Colombiana has been revealed. I am so sorry. I was stuck in the shadows of the Sith. I am so sorry. Terrible. But I just want to be able to attract people so that way they can see how I started off, because it wasn't easy for me when I first started. And that's why I'm so hard on myself, because I used to be one of those people that would make an excuse for not going to training or for not doing this. I used to be one of those people back in
Mhm.
2014. And it wasn't until I got a swift kick in the ass that I matured up and I started taking this more seriously. So whenever I see somebody slacking off, I'm like, this is very disappointing, and I can say that because I've been there before, and I don't want them to go down the wrong path. So I try to be helpful, and again, activity on social media is very, very important, so that way you can grow your fan base and hopefully get noticed by another company, because that's how you eventually get booked in other places too. So
Yep.
Right, and then this weekend you're back to back on main event. Let me ask this here: what does that mean for one women's wrestling, and also you're in two main events, and also being a Latina representing the Latin culture in main events, and tell us about that privilege and honor, because I think that's a privilege and an honor.
it is a huge honor. I There's a lot of talented Latino women out there, and I actually have the privilege of rolling with three of them: Evie de la Rosa, Evilise, and Mercedes Martinez, which I have learned a lot from them. And with the amount of experience that they have, I've been able to pick their brain for the last 2-3 years, basically. And I keep in touch with them periodically, and I ask them, hey, like, what can I do to get better? Or like, we'll just have like a conversation. Some of them will just shoot me like a random piece of advice, and it's always welcome, because that's how you get better. But it's so it's addicting to feel, to be in that spotlight, especially being a Latina. And for women's wrestling, it's very meaningful, because I feel like at a certain point women's wrestling just died. Like it wasn't as impactful. People considered them a bathroom break, and we weren't getting that attention that a lot of the guy wrestlers were. And maybe in part it had to do with, maybe, like, I'm just talking beyond, but maybe it had to do maybe with like the way that the promotion ran, or maybe it was just, well, let's just give them 5 minutes, whatever, they're women, blah blah blah. But we're getting 10, 12. I've wrestled 15, 20, 25 minutes before. Eventually I want to get to a 60-minute Iron Woman match. That is my goal. But I want women to be taken as seriously as men do,
Oh, we got a little bit of a technical difficulty here. Of course, that's Labrava Escobar joining us here on the Sports Jedi
oh
Network.
no.
Well,
Am
we
I
can
still
hear her.
here?
You're here. Yeah, you go. Now your camera's back
Here
on.
we
You're
go.
still
Am
here.
I still
There
here?
you are. Yes, yes, yes.
Oh
You're
no,
still here.
I
Loud and
cannot hear
clear.
you. There was a
Directo.
call came through. I am so sorry. I am gonna mute
Nah,
this.
that's
Hold
live.
on.
That's
I
what
am
happens
so
of live
sorry.
streaming. Trust me, that happens to us.
What do I do?
You're good.
Is it working? Can you guys hear
It's
me?
working. It's working perfect. You're right on right
I
on schedule.
cannot hear you guys whatsoever. Oh my goodness gracious.
Oh no, we could hear you. We could hear you.
My goodness gracious. How do I fix this? I do not know
You
how
want
to
to
do
you want to
this.
close and come back in?
Hold on. I think I've got it. I think I have got it.
Of course, when you use your phone, you get the conversation in with a call, and you lose the audio for a minute. But we'll get her back on. We'll get back on.
Oh my goodness gracious, this is terrible.
No, you're good.
I'm trying to fix this. I am so sorry. I cannot hear you whatsoever. I am trying to fix this. There was a call that came through. I muted this. Oh no, this is
that's
terrible.
fine. We'll get it working.
Flow, man.
That's the live stream.
I do not know how to fix this. I don't know how to fix this.
Come back in, close, and come back in. Hold on.
So close this and then go back inside. Okay,
there you go.
Let me do that.
There you go. There you go. That's the force. That's the power of the force.
Let me try
you got that Jedi mind trick. Let's say we'll bring her back on. As we'll bring her back on for a moment. Give her a moment. She'll be back on, and we'll bring her back on for a minute. And why am I getting a phone call from? I don't know. Getting a phone call. All right, so we got a wonderful interview. We'll bring her back on. Let's see. Hopefully, we get her back on, and we are going to get her back on, and she is back on with us, ladies and gentlemen. There it is.
I had to mute it over here. I am so sorry. I was like, no, this is terrible.
No, that's fine. That's fine. That's all. That's part of the technical difficulties that always happens with a live stream. But we were talking about that representation, and you were talking about having the conversation with your peers, with the other ladies, and this is something that we try to channel or enlighten in our channel when it comes to not just independent wrestling, but women's wrestling. Period.
Yes.
You know, it's difficult because guys say, "Oh, these guys just want to talk to women on their channel. They bring in the women wrestlers." Well, no, because I'm a happily married man for over 30 years, and I'm not looking. I want that.
Good for you. Awesome.
I want to hear the women's wrestling, the talents tell their story, because to me personally, I'm gonna tell me personally, it sucks when people say, "Oh, I got to go to the bathroom," or "I'm gonna get up, go get popcorn. I need to go make a sandwich." These ladies are working their asses off, regardless of what level are there. If it's on Monday Night Raw, All Elite Wrestling, or in the independent show, they need their respect, the same respect as the young up and coming young men that are wrestling. Give that few minutes, give that open mind, and watch it. And the same thing goes with the women MMA. You know, women MMA as well. They're entertaining
nails, man.
Exactly. So that's why we like to channel ourselves and focus and spotlight. And we have had more women wrestlers on our channel than male. And it's not, and because you ladies are willing to come on and speak your story, and we want to listen to it.
I feel like sometimes we don't get that opportunity, and it's not because maybe we're not taken seriously, or maybe there's no interest. But I mean, like, that's why there's 1,000 different flavors for everybody. So I may not be someone's flavor, but I could be somebody else's. You know what I mean? So like, I try to bite on whatever like fishbowl is thrown at me when it comes to like interviews or just opportunities and stuff. But also, I'm very careful too, because I've been in a relationship for the last 5 years, and I am a very, very happy woman in that relationship too. So I do set very strict boundaries with people. But he is also a wrestler, which everybody knows it's Salazar. But I hold myself to a very particular position in the totem pole, just when it comes to morals. And you know, I don't want people to get that misunderstanding, because I make it very clear from the beginning that that's not what I'm here for. I'm here just to work, and I'm here to be a professional. Right. And I want to grow in this business. I'm not interested in the OnlyFans exposure, because I don't even have one, man. Like, the only like platforms of social media that I have are Facebook, X, which I don't really go too much on, but Instagram, TikTok, which I'm getting a little bit more active on. And all I want to do is just be enveloped in wrestling. That's all I'm interested in. And I'm interested in the athleticism part of it, making money, of course, and then just making it to the top. And if I have a good match and I'm happy with what I did, then I know that it's a good night. If I ever have a bad match, believe me, I will be beating up myself over it for like at least 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I will beat myself up over it big time.
No, and that's the way, sometimes we are our worst critic.
Yes.
No matter what. There's times I've done a stream. Oh, I should have said this on the stream. I should have delivered that punchline. And it's just us doing this for fun. You're doing this for professional, and it's. I understand how you are so tough on yourself. Let me ask this other question: how easy is it that you have your partner in the business? It makes it much more easy understanding when you're having a certain time or day, or how busy you are. It helps the relationship, I think. I don't know if you want to elaborate on that. If not, we can move on to
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it helps because we train together, we wrestle together, we travel together, we go to the gym together. So if we work so well with each other because we're always on the same page. And if he has a different perspective, he'll share it. If I have a different perspective, I'll share it. But we always try to meet a middle ground, so that way, it just works for the both of us. We are a very good team, and again, it does help because we understand, like maybe our quality time together may be cut a little bit short, which has happened before. Maybe we plan to spend the entire day together one day, but we can't because you know what? We have a wrestling show, or maybe we have to meet up and do a presentation, or we have to do an interview, or we have to go promote the show. We're very big into promoting the shows, not just in social media, but we go out in the streets and we do the good old fashioned hanging posters on the poles and on the trees and handing them out to different businesses. Because again, what we want to do at the end of the day is grow and get people to see us. And again, there goes in tow with like the social media following. We tell them, hey,
Right.
follow us here, follow us over here. But we have a very big understanding with each other. And I admire that a lot. And he understands it. I understand it. And we've had this conversation way before like we were like 5 6 years in. That was like a day one conversation that we had, like, hey, wrestling is a priority, like this is what we need to prioritize. And because we had that conversation such early on, I think it actually helped a lot. um he helps me a lot, and I am a little bit of a pain sometimes to deal with. I'm not afraid to admit because us Latino women are very feisty when we want to make a point. But he's very patient with me and offers me such great advice. And sometimes I'm very reluctant, but I know that it always comes from a good place. And honestly, the advice that he gives me, I take it and I roll with it. And I'm not afraid to say it, I give him credibility too in teaching me. Because before we were ever a thing, I met him through. I was in training in the first ever facility that I ever started in, and he at the time he would periodically come over, and he would give us like pointers and everything, but I didn't know who he was. And then I did the world's crappiest shoulder roll for a warm up. And then he says, what the was that? And I look at him and I'm like, who the are you? It was not a good introduction the way that we first met. But then afterwards, I mean, it was instantaneous. We became friends, and look at us now. We're traveling the world together. We have Dominican Republic coming up in November, which we will be going
Love
back.
it.
And we will be going back to the motherland of Colombia next year as well. So we already have that, and looking to fill up more international bookings along the way. But yeah, it really helps that you
Nice.
have somebody in wrestling. Yeah, it really helps.
I love that. That's good. Listen, my origin story. I told my wife when we were in high school, joking around. If we had the same like 5 classes in a row, are you following me? She didn't talk to me for a year, but luckily it worked out because 30 years later we're together still. So I got lucky.
Kind of hard to get rid of each other now, right?
And yeah. Now who's following who? Because I'm the follower to the end. Let me ask this question. I know you talk about Dominican Republic coming up. And right now, there's a female wrestler taking Florida by storm from the Dominican. Any chance, Nikki Blackcard and yourself in the future?
I would love that. Like I said, I'm always open to wrestling different faces, and I've heard her name quite a bit in the indie scene. And her physique, have you seen her physique? It is insane. But that just goes to show you just how much work she's willing to put in that a lot of people may not be willing to put in. And it takes years to look like that. So I applaud her. I applaud her work. I've seen a lot of her wrestling matches. And I would love one day to share the ring with her. I think we would have a really great match because we both have different styles, and that's where it comes to adapting and being versatile. So that for me, Nikki, if you're watching this, I think you're actually going to be in Atlanta for Mucha Lucha. So you and I, we might have a little conversation in Atlanta. So if you're watching this, we got to talk.
I know how to stir things up, pal.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, Nikki Blackheart is one of those out there. Catalina Cruz from right here from Central Florida as well. Another one. Florida has a lot of great hotbed of women wrestlers, and also some of them that we have interviewed all across. I know you have shared the ring with Natalia Perez out there from Puerto Rico. We have a lot of great women from Puerto Rico that join our program that looking to expand and wrestle with other women. So I love that hopefully this channel opens up the doors for some of the wrestlers that watched us and been there and interview, that you guys could communicate and book. And man, as I'll be there and rooting both of the ladies on. As long as you guys entertain us, I know you will. And I think the fans win.
Yes, absolutely. And like I said, like Puerto Rico, that's another place that that's my second home. I've been to Puerto Rico, God knows how many times at this point. And I've wrestled some of the best women that they have over there. And one that comes to mind is Black Rose. She's phenomenal in the ring, phenomenal. And such great talent. And she deserves everything that she has right now. She's worked her ass off for it. We had a match actually in Puerto Rico. It was with Ground Zero Wrestling. And it was the first match that I ever had with her. And she knows this, but I was very nervous because I didn't know what to expect. I've seen her matches before. I just didn't know what to expect. She laid it in. And let me tell you, Puerto Rican women are a whole different breed of wrestlers. If nobody has ever been to Puerto Rico to actually wrestle, those women are built differently, man. When they say hard hitting, they are not kidding. They are hard hitting women, but they are not afraid to take a beating either. We beat each other senseless. We had such a great match that time. And again, someone that has given me advice over time as well. Natalia Perez is somebody that's up and coming in wrestling, and she's such a great talent. We had a match in Dominican Republic, and in Colombia, and in Florida, and in Puerto Rico. So we've taken our matches around the world, which is great. Naid Robles is another one.
She was our first female guest, by the way. Naid.
Oh, wonderful! She's awesome too.
She was just in London at a European tour just now. I mean, she was ecstatic with that.
Yes, she was, and she's come a long way too. I got to know her when she was actually. I didn't even realize this until she told me. I think we were part of a seminar together, but I think that's when she was first starting to wrestle. I had already been maybe 4 or 5 years in. So I was already, my name was already known. She was just up and coming, and I had no idea until she showed me a photo. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this is great. So again, the women that they bring out in Puerto Rico, it's amazing. If you haven't had a chance to wrestle in Puerto Rico, oh my gosh, it's a different environment, a different territory, but the type of peace that you feel in Puerto Rico, man, oh my God, would I love to buy a house over there and just live in Puerto Rico one day? I would love to.
Nice.
I would really love to.
You need to check out some of the ladies of EWA, like Lady Shadow, who was on our show. Destructive Nancy was on our show. Those, you watch their matches, and they're going, and with Gemma, they're having a feud right now that's playing out on YouTube. That I'm watching that, and I'm like, holy crap! Because when I interviewed Lady Shadow and Destructive Nancy, those promos, I felt like there was some real animosity, but they sold me, they hooked me. I'm following that storyline, and I will definitely see something, where someone might take over, someone brava enough to put them in check. You never know, You never know. La Doña might show up.
I would love to have a match with them. I've actually met La Destructora Nancy before. I've met her before. Um, Such great, like I can't say anything bad about these women, and the women that come out from Puerto Rico, they're so talented. And again, hard hitting, man. I got a big reality check when I first went to Puerto Rico, because the American style of wrestling is very different from Puerto Rico. Very, very different. When they say strong style Puerto Rican wrestling, they are not joking at all. I've learned a couple of tricks of the trade that I brought back over here to the States, and it's intimidating to other women, but it's okay. It's okay. Have it to go wrestle in Puerto Rico and see what I'm talking about. Whenever they do, and then they come back and they share their experience, they're like, "Oh my God, you weren't kidding." Yeah, no
Love
shit.
it.
They will beat you senseless, man. They don't play around. That's a lifestyle over there. It really is.
Let me ask this question. I always ask this. Tomorrow I'm going to give you, I'm going to buy your ticket, I'm going to stamp your passport somewhere where you haven't wrestled, and I'm going to give you the opportunity. Where would you like to do like a 3 to 6 weeks tour, across seas, any location that you haven't done that might be a bucket list?
Japan.
Everyone says that. 90% of the
Japan.
wrestlers say that.
Japan. I feel like it has to be on your bucket list. It has to. There's so much history, and I feel like there's so much opportunity and so much knowledge left to learn, and the type of discipline that Japanese wrestlers and the Japanese art of wrestling has compared to America, it's it, it's uncomparable. You can't compare it. I've heard stories, and I'm like, okay, I know that I'll probably have to be up for 20 hours, paying my dues because I'm a foreigner coming into foreign country, but I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. I have no problem helping with the teardowns. I have no problem doing XYZ. Like, that's what we're here for. Like, wrestling isn't just about getting inside the ring, lacing up your boots, putting on your gear, and getting a good match. Nobody realizes the stuff that we have to do behind the scenes. We have to arrive early to shows. We're not there just arrive, wrestle, and leave. I wish it was that easy, but no, it comes with sacrifice. I can't begin to tell you how many birthdays or anniversaries, family get-togethers I've had to miss because I have to be there on time. I'm on the road 6, 7, 8 hours, sometimes even more, traveling to different states, different countries, and it is what it is. I know the price that I'm paying, but 3 to 6 weeks in Japan, absolutely. If I could give you a different answer, Mexico would be another one. Mexico, oh my gosh, I would love to go to Mexico. I would love to learn the lucha style. I would love to. I think that it would be something great to add to my arsenal and just expand on what I already know, and then just tweak a couple of things to what works for me. But I want to learn why it's so important in Mexico, why it's such a religion in Mexico, why it's so respected. I want to know the art of lucha, um, the history behind it, because the history is really important too. You got to know that. I want to know it all. But if I had to pick something else besides Japan, Mexico is definitely on top of that list.
Yeah, that's two of the spots. A lot of people say that. Puerto Rico, the Caribbean, or Canada. Those either way, they. I love that because they bring a unique form of the art, into and it's just a gumbo of lucha libre wrestling, all in spirit, which I love about that. That's what it's all about. I that's why as a fan, you love seeing something different. You love seeing the AAA wrestling. You love seeing the CMLL, but you also want to see a little Japanese style, with either Yoshi Pro or New Japan or Stardom or Noah. You want to see that. That's something different. Then you have your different, like you said, Puerto Rico wrestling. You watch, any one of the Puerto Rican wrestling companies that you watch, and of course, all your North American wrestling and so forth, and you appreciate it. That's the art of wrestling. That's what I think a lot of the fans tend to don't miss the essence of it, of
Yes.
appreciating all the different companies. They all bring something unique to the table. That's what makes wrestling. Wrestling, if you look at it at lucha, it's the art of the struggle. You're wrestling. You wrestle in life. You wrestle to pay your bills. You wrestle to make your mortgage payment. You wrestle to get up in the morning. So you're wrestling. It's the art of the struggle. It doesn't have to look pretty. It doesn't have to be, gorgeous. That's why the name of the sport is called wrestling. That's, I know, we get it. A lot of people tend to forget that these days in 2025. With that, let me. I got a couple more questions before we get out of here. Let me ask this one here.
Yeah.
I'm also going to be a booker. Give me some fantasy. I have two available spots at WrestleMania because it's a 2-night event. Who am I booking with you first night with anyone from the past that you would love to wrestle? Even even if they're not with us or they're retired, and then your second night, anyone anywhere from any wrestling company, I'm booking you. Labrava Escobar night 1 versus who, and then night 2 versus who.
So, are we talking just indie? Are we talking signed wrestling?
Anybody. This is your WrestleMania moment. I'm gonna put you on ESPN premium live event. There's gonna be 75,000 plus watching you live, and we're gonna watch you and millions and billions around the world. Who are you wrestling night 1 and who are you wrestling night 2? Fantasy booking style.
Damn, that's right. You're putting me in the spotlight with that one.
I ask everyone that question.
My answers always change, man. My answers always change. But I feel like right now,
And you thought I was gonna ask you what was your Waffle House order. Come on, I don't.
It's just waffles because I love waffles, man. I love them. So if you wanted that answer, it's waffles, man. I got a stack of waffles. Such a waffle lover. Oh God, my answer changes all the time. I love her style. I love her aggressiveness. I love her ability to reel people in and to just create magic every single time because her presence is larger than life. It's very invigorating and it's so attracting. This will probably be just about 95% of wrestlers' answer, and I apologize because it's very generic. But I would love maybe night 1 to be with Rhea Ripley, for example. I love watching her matches. Oh my gosh, I love watching her matches. I actually had an opportunity to meet her back in 2018, 2019. She still had the blonde hair, long blonde hair, and I think she was coming back from an injury at the time. And we were actually in Orlando in Pro Wrestling 2.0. I don't know if you remember the promotion from back then, but she was there backstage, and she to this day I still hear good things about her. But even back then, she was a sweetheart. I didn't get a chance to talk to her too much, but looking like at her from back then and now, the type of involvement, the type of growth, that's the type of growth that I want to do. I want people to look at me like 10 years ago and be like, holy smokes, Labrava Escobar has really grown in this business. Like, look at the changes. I'm getting there, but I know that I can always do better. Again, everybody's their own worst critic. But I want a WrestleMania with her would be great. I'm very small. I'm like 5'1" on a great day, maybe $120 soaking wet. And this girl is made of solid steel. So 2 different styles, and I feel like it could complement very well with each other. Night 2, Stephanie Baker.
That's not bad.
Stephanie Baker. I get compared to her a lot. I don't know. People think there were some people that say, "Oh my God, are you related to her?" And I'm like, no, I'm not. She's Chilean. I'm Colombian. We're completely different ethnicities. We have nothing. There's nothing that ties us in together. So just in
the
case
continent. Just the continent.
Just the continent. That's it. So if anybody's looking and they want to keep on making these comparisons, I swear we're not related. We are not related in any way, shape, or form. But I would love to wrestle her. Like, her trajectory in wrestling is ridiculous. With all the amount of knowledge that she has and all these wrestling promotions that she's touched, the history that she's made in wrestling, I feel like she's already cemented herself in the world of professional wrestling. And I feel like a match between her and I think people would really, really, really pay money to see it. And I think that they would actually enjoy the match. Hopefully one of these days, crossing my fingers, you never know. And these days, wrestling, anything can happen, right? I would love to wrestle her one day. God knows how much I would learn from her, and just make magic happen. I know that we would be able to. I know that we would have a great match together.
No, I love that. I hope so. Hopefully, we speak it to existence. La primera, Labrava quiere tener una clase contigo y vamos a complacer. Vamos, tú eres la primera.
Con la Doña.
Con la Doña. Ella sabe que ella comió y durmió y she lived and breathed and comió wrestling, so she knows the struggle. She knows what it is to go and trying to get that opportunity. And she's in Tampa. You're in Tampa. I think the dungeon is near you by Natalia Natty's Nightheart's dungeon. A little scrap with it doesn't have to be. Let's go. I know
Little
even if it's not
warm-up, man. Let's
televised,
go
let's
for
go.
it.
Let's
Si
go
ella
for it,
está
man. Let's
viendo
take it
esta
to existence.
grabación, si la primera está viendo esta grabación un día, ojalá que eso pase entre la doña y la primera, porque yo sé que los fanáticos sí se lo van a disfrutar mucho.
Claro que sí. Claro que sí. SOC would have been a nice one.
Fun fact, a lot of, and I like speaking it into existence because, knock on wood, every single time that I actually say, like, hey, I would love to wrestle this person, months later or years later, it happens. At some capacity, it happens. I said it with Evilise. I've said it with Black Rose. I've said it with Roxy from Puerto Rico. All the talent that I've named over time, I've had the opportunity to share the ring with them on more than one occasion. And I'm looking to just keep on building and just keep, wrestling the best, because that's what I want. I want to wrestle the best that they have in wrestling.
Yeah. Man, I would love that an opportunity in an indie promotion or where who knows what doors it opens. You and Marsha Slamovich. You never know, that gets you an opportunity with TNA. TNA's always looking for knockouts, to improve the knockouts division. They're always looking, and that will be another spot. You and Marsha Slamovich maybe on an independent scene where, who knows, a Tommy Dreamer watches your match, or Marsha says, hey, I had a great match with Labrava. We need to bring her in. And the way they're bringing in talent and always looking to evolve, and TNA's growing. One of the big ones. I mean, listen, Tommy, Carlos Silva, Mr. Foreman, we got a young lady here who looks like she checks the box. Promos, could talk, people in the building want to talk, people in the building, they're checking the box. Got to give her a opportunity. Labrava Mayhem, her bookings, her information, her video is in my video description. You guys do the magic, reach out and for a tryout. Let's go.
So yeah, I'm available for bookings and for appearances on Instagram. I'm available as Labrava Mayhem, Facebook Labrava Escobar, on X Labrava Official or L'Official Labrava. I am not entirely sure because I'm not too active, but I really need to be. And on TikTok, I am known as Sixth Sense Brava, and I'm very responsive to people. Sometimes it does get a little bit lost in the sauce, but I eventually do get back to everybody. But I'm available this Friday again. Mandalorian Bar Wars Wrestling in Tampa, Florida at the Brass Mug. Saturday it will be at Outcast Brewery in St. Pete, Florida. Back to back, 2 main events, 2 street fights. I am not afraid of using myself as a weapon if needed, or afraid of getting hurt in the process. And then Sunday we are going over to Atlanta, Georgia for Mucha Lucha Atlanta. And I don't know who I'm wrestling yet, but whoever ends up showing up, my gear's in the bag, and I'm ready to wrestle whoever, whenever. I don't care if you're a boy. I don't care if you're a girl. I don't care if you're somebody's grandmother or somebody's dad or somebody's mom. I will wrestle anybody, anywhere, at any time, because I stay ready.
There you go. She's always ready. No, not to take from my Cardona, pero siempre está lista. Papa, he's always la lista to put some pain down. So love it. I appreciate that. And final thing for me here: who's your favorite Jedi of them all? Because I know we were talking about this backstage about Star Wars. We love Star Wars, and to me, it's Luke Skywalker. I am a Luke Skywalker, even though he's a whiny little one. But I love Luke Skywalker.
He matured a lot in Return of the Jedi, though. He matured a lot.
Oh, big time.
Big development. Obi-Wan, man, that's OG right there, man. We're talking about one of the greatest Jedi of all time, man. That is the GOAT. That is the GOAT. So I don't care what anybody says. Obi-Wan is number one, man. And I will be an Obi-Wan fan until the day I die, and a Star Wars fan until the day I die.
As a kid, I thought Obi-Wan, I didn't understand that he sacrificed his life to the Force so they could lead, so the rebel could move on and not get captured. I never got that until as an adult. The personal sacrifice, living through it. As a kid, I was like, oh, what a softie. Some man just died and they just disappeared. Yeah. But then I appreciate it as I got older. That's why to me, because I always loved this Luke Skywalker. I saw a young kid grow up into a man, and defeated Vader. That's why I always gravitated to Luke. And then when I saw the Mandalorian, when he comes out at the end to go get Goku, I was like, oh my god, this is what the Luke Skywalker I needed. I marked out.
It was a good take back to back in the day because those movies, the 4, 5, and 6, they were so great. I remember watching them when I was a kid. Luke Skywalker was definitely one of my favorites back then. But then I started watching like The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, and just Obi-Wan grew into me. And so did Anakin, actually. Anakin, even though he got a lot of flack back in the day, finally now they're giving that man his flowers. They're finally giving this man the flowers that he deserved a long time ago because he played that role to a T, man. He really did. But Obi-Wan all the way, man. It's got to be Obi-Wan.
I went to see Return of the Jedi in the theaters back in '83. That's how old I went to that.
Man, but that must have been so cool, man, because that's like the first time anybody sees it. Like, what was it like watching in the movie theaters? Because I know, like, now you can watch it on disc or like Blu-ray, whatever. But what about the movies like back then?
It was great. Here's the one thing that I loved about it. As soon as I watched it, you get that fever, that love of Star Wars. And then I lived on the 5th floor. So guess what I had to get on? An elevator. And guess what I thought? Well, my cousin took me, my older cousin. He did the Darth Vader noises, and the elevator closes, and I'm just standing there like Luke Skywalker. And I transformed myself into Luke Skywalker in the elevator to go meet the Emperor on my way home. That's how much it impact. When you're a kid, you have that innocence of that, getting and turning fantasy, at the moment. My cousin played the role perfect with Luke, with Darth Vader, and we just finished seeing the movie, and we had that scene there. I was like, oh, it was just great. That's a childhood memory, 40 plus years later, and it still feels like it was fresh in my mind.
Yes. Oh man, that must have been so great. I know. I always keep saying this, that I was born in the wrong decade. I should have been born like in the 70s or the 80s, man, because it was such a great time to be alive with everything that was coming out, including the music, the movies, everything, man. You guys, I wish I would have been born in your guys' generation.
You know what? I was born in '76, just 2 days. I'm not afraid of saying it, but I sometimes wish I was born a little earlier because I missed out on the Fania All-Star, Fania Music All-Star. I grew up listening to it as a kid, but I didn't get the opportunity to be in those concerts live at Yankee Stadium in the Stars, being there for that. Also, seeing, all the insertions of the classic rock from seeing Sabbath, right, and the beginning of Queen, and soft there. That I wasn't old enough to able to go to those concerts and get there and watch it, and then and those I wish I was like, damn, I wish it was 10 years. I wish I was born 10 years younger. Maybe I would have just got there, go to the disco scene in New York City, because I grew up in New York, in the Bronx. So I missed out this, those Studio 54 stuff and all that stuff, because that wasn't mine. I was still a little baby, a kid. So I know what you mean. You when you wish you were just a little bit off with Riverborn, but hey, it happens for a great reason.
Just a little bit, man. But you know what? At least we get to enjoy them now. At least at some capacity, we get to enjoy it, even if we didn't get to back in their origin days or whatnot.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But this has been fun. I'm not going to take too much of your time. You gave me a great hour. I mean, appreciate count on us to support you in any way we can. If you need us to retweet, promote, just say the word. We're there, man. We say that to all our independent talents. They don't seem to think we're not going to promote, but you didn't ask. We don't want to also seem forcing like, oh, but if you ask me, hey, I got a show, or say, hey, or tag me, don't mind tagging me. I'll retweet it, repost it. That's what it's about. It's networking and amplifying your voice, amplifying the independent scene's voice, because you guys are working your asses off to get booked, and also working a 9 to 5. Hey, I got to get up early in the morning too to work and do these streams. I'm in the same, not in the same. I'm not a wrestler, but I'm in the same kind of boat, in a different vessel, but we're in the same destiny. Yeah.
You got to hustle. Yeah. So early wake ups. And then after that, like once you're done with the 9 to 5, then work doesn't stop there. Then you got another type of job to do. It's still like
editing, video editing.
I'm sure you get a lot of comments of like, dude, when do you ever sleep? Or man, you really need to take some rest. You need to take a vacation. No, man, because if I take vacation, that means that spotlight's available for the next guy. I'm not going to do that. I can't rest. I'll sleep when I'm dead. That's when I'll sleep. Other than that, I'm staying awake 24/7, man.
If I could, I would. I definitely would on that. Definitely. I enjoyed this interviewing part. To me, this is the fun part because and just to get to know you, get to know you, and it's not even in a personal level, just to know your story. It was phenomenal. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Have it, tear the roof off, steal the show on both nights on those main events. Come out safe. First and foremost, come out safe on all three of your events, safe, healthy, and I hope that there is a scout for a major company in all those three shows where you get approach afterwards. I cannot wait for that opportunity that I see that when I'm doing my watch alongs and when I'm doing the report on TNA or AEW, you're there. And I'm like, yeah, we interviewed her. Oh my God. And I cannot wait for it. I know you had the opportunity prior, but you know what? It's gonna happen even more. So 2026, man, to close out 25 when in Brocha de Oro, and let's bring in 2026 with Golden Standard, man.
I'm ready, man. I'm ready. I stay ready. I don't have to get ready. I stay ready. So if the
There you
opportunity is
go.
there, I'm ready to take a bite and just show them what Labrava Escobar is all about. Absolutely. And I appreciate you for having like this platform for us wrestlers also to speak, because if it wasn't for people like you guys, interviewing us, we wouldn't have a spotlight to also talk about our journeys, or like people know like what we're about, what we bring to the table. So just as much appreciation you show us, we show that appreciation to you guys. So thank you guys for letting us tell our story in your guys' platform.
Thank you again. And this is open invitation. You just tell me, hey, can I come on? I got something to promote. I got something to say. You don't even have to. I don't even have to say twice. Yeah. The stream is ready for so and so. Just say the word and you're on. Definitely. Siempre,
Awesome.
siempre. Un placer. Gracias, and thank you so much again. We appreciate it. So again, please follow her information on the video description. You could follow her on all her social media. I believe I have her merchandise on there as well. I think I placed it on the video description. Merch is a great way to support the independent wrestling scene. If you're in Tampa, St. Petersburg area, check out those matches on Woman Lorien on the square. And if you're in the Atlanta area, please check it out. I'm going to post those events on my social media later on in the evening or tomorrow. And so you guys in that area to check that out, get a ticket, buy a ticket, support, and be there. So una vez, gracias. So I'm going to run the outro now. So I want to say thank you at the end. Thank you guys. Don't forget, hit like, subscribe, and share. And I always tell you guys, don't let life pin you. Always kick out. Always get yourself over. Y que Dios me lo bendiga todo. We'll see you next time here on the Sports Jedi Network. May the sports be with you.